I-24 near the Bell Road area in Antioch, where we have cars floating on the interstate. It's just, we probably have at least 6 feet of water. The barrier is trying to hold the water back. We're concerned because of people walking around and other cars coming the other direction. Will that barrier hold? We've seen people been pulled out of their cars, jumped out of their cars, and those cars are just floating around like toys in a bathtub.
Yeah, Lisa, when we first started showing this picture of the TDOT Smart Cam, the left lane was open, and that's why those cars are up against the wall there. They were all going, I believe that's east towards Murfreesboro, southeast towards Murfreesboro, and the water was all the way up over all the lanes except the left lane. As we were watching it, we watched the water in 5 to 10 minutes time all of a sudden creep up all the way across the far left lane, and all those cars are in that water. They're floating right now. You can see some of them even turned sideways when a tractor trailer went by there and made a big wake. Didn't do anybody any favors there, but a very serious situation there with major flooding there on I-24, but maybe people in those cars, I hope they've all been able to get out safely. But as Lisa's been mentioning, on the other side of that wall, if that wall breaks, all those people standing on the other side could be in trouble as well. Yeah. We don't mean to ignore all our friends in the eastern counties from Cookeville down to McMinnville. I know you've got lightning and thunder, you've got warnings going on as well, but we're trying to cover it all for you. Lisa's going to be getting down to storm tracking in our eastern counties. Yeah, I want to also point out that we still have the tornado warning over here in Coffee County. See the purple there, it's Manchester off to the east. We have a tornado warning. You need to be taking cover.
Tornadoes is going to go up as we go through the nighttime hours, not down. Down back to the south and the west, they have issued a new tornado watch that covers much of Arkansas. And with that watch covering most of Arkansas, that is in an exact location that all of our storms originated last night. So they have what's called a PDS watch, a particularly dangerous situation there that is expected to explode over Arkansas. And again, that's exactly the same area that the storms exploded last night and then moved into Middle Tennessee during the early morning hours. So what doesn't look like much over Arkansas now will become a well-formed line of thunderstorms, and the trajectory of the way the wind pattern is, that will take those storms back into Middle Tennessee overnight and on into Sunday. So we will likely be dealing with exactly the same thing tomorrow that we're dealing with today, or in maybe not in exactly the same locations, but certainly in some locations across Middle Tennessee, we will run the risk of more flooding tomorrow. And we will also see more thunderstorms developing down over parts of Mississippi and Arkansas that will move back into West Tennessee tonight, and that will move back into our area as the nighttime progresses on into tomorrow morning. And because the air is so unstable to the south of us, we're likely to see the big thunderstorms develop there and then move north. So we will continue also to see wind shear, that is a spin in the atmosphere that will stay very strong tonight on into tomorrow. So we're going to see waves of showers and thunderstorms that will continue for the next 24 hours at least, perhaps even 36 hours into Monday morning, and where we have already seen anywhere from 4 to 12 inches of rain, likely we'll see anywhere from 1 to 5 or 6 inches more on top of what we've already seen. So I think flooding will continue to be a big problem, and the enhanced risk for tornadoes over the next few hours, especially in southern Middle Tennessee, where the spin is very strong and the atmosphere is fairly unstable. We have more pictures out of My 5 coming up. You are watching News Channel 5 at 5 o'clock. This is continuing coverage of a severe weather situation that's developed.
Front and center, posing for the official jockey's portrait. Todd Pletcher talking about Calvin, says he's a good rider anywhere, but at Churchill Downs, he's a superstar. And
we watched the water come up 3 feet in about 5 minutes time.
Watch what that truck does as they get into the deeper water. I bet you that truck messes things up. Hopefully the water isn't quite as deep right there.
Well, this is again the backup from Mill Creek, which hasn't flooded like this since 1979. Look, if you don't mind, can you punch up camera 55? Well, at least why don't we go back to the Pulaski
I want to look
velocity
at that again.
And we
can split the screen for us.
Yeah, if we can. Now look, now the accident is clear, but can you see in the low spot how the traffic is stopped?
Yeah.
So that's the second place where you cannot pass the interstate. So let's get back to our tornado out here by Pulaski.
Yeah, we're looking at coming right up Fall River Road, some possible rotation there into the Pulaski area, Chicken Creek Road. I'm going to turn the lightning off. Boy, there's so much of it, and it's a huge part of these thunderstorms, but it makes it difficult to see what's going on out there. But again, this
Look at what's happening with rain as far as lightning. Still seeing a little bit of lightning, although not nearly as impressive as it was a little while ago. But this is an area that we continue to watch. And
those are the areas of concern right now as far as tornadoes are concerned. But we do continue to have a lot of problems out there with the flooding that's taking place too. That's much more.
There is a tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock local time for the central parts of Arkansas, northern Mississippi. And as Todd mentioned earlier, this is a particularly dangerous situation, a PDS watch for the central parts of Arkansas. And that means we're talking about numerous supercells and long-lived tornadoes are possible. Here's Todd with more.
Yeah, you know, Vivian, there's a lot of things kind of coming together to set this up, especially just west of the areas where you initially were maybe looking at the radar saying, okay, well, fine, it's east of me. We're still dealing with a front across the area. You have the jet stream setup, which Dr. Forbes will talk more about all of this kind of coming together. But underneath this, specifically in this watch area, we've been dealing with sunshine poking through the clouds. So now you have the daytime heating, dew points in the low 70s, temperatures pushing up to the 80s. A lot of what you need there, pretty much everything you need to see an outbreak of tornadoes, not just a few isolated here and there. So certainly upgrading the alert level across that region, especially central Arkansas to northern Louisiana. Right now, into some of these other areas, you can see that heavy cloud cover with some of the heavier showers. Lots of flooding reported, especially through central Tennessee, extending over towards west Tennessee, northern Mississippi as well. Gulf moisture continuing to stream northward across the area. That
on up to the Lewisburg area. The first one we're talking about is right in Pulaski as we speak. If you're in Pulaski, this is a rotation right over you, and of course the next red Doppler radar shows the rotation all the time. It can't tell whether it's touching the ground because the radar beam gets higher and higher the further away it gets.
If you guys could put that box somewhere else, put it up in the upper left-hand corner, that would be helpful because it seems like our storm boxes are always coming in underneath that.